Okay, so welcome back. Now we're going to do another example here. Now in the other examples we've done combinations of row, the combinations in order to eliminate the variables and get it into echelon form. Here we're going to end up having to swap a couple of rows. Okay, and you'll see why in a moment. So let's just go through our process. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to eliminate the x's. So notice these x's here. We're going to use the first row to eliminate the x in the x variable in the second row. So we're going to just take -2 times row 1 and add it to row 2. Okay, so we're going to do -2 row 1 plus row 2. And so again, all the other rows are going to be left unchanged. The only thing that's going to change is row 2. So we'll do x minus y equals 0. And then of course this is going to go away. And then if we do -2 times -1, that's going to give us +2. +2 minus 2 is going to give us 0. So the y is going to go away. Okay. And then these are going to stay. There's nothing here, so these are going to be unaffected. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up with z plus 2w equals, now here we got 0, so again this is going to be unaffected here. So because -2 times 0 is 0, so that's going to still be 4. Okay, now the rest of them we'll just copy. So we got y plus w equals 0, and then 2z plus w equals 5. Okay, now, here's where it gets interesting. Now notice the y is down here. Okay, this is the only one with the y in its row, right? Also notice that this z here is up here. So what we want to do is we want to swap these two rows. We want this y up here because this is the leading coefficient. Now notice that this is here. So leading coefficient here is to the right of the leading coefficient below it. So we want the leading coefficient of the bottom one to be to the right of the leading coefficient of the next row. So we can swap, we want to swap these so we get these y's next to each other. So that's going to be the next step. So we're going to swap, and the way I'm going to write this is I'm just going to write a double arrow. So I'm going to do row 2 swap with row 3. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to swap those. So I'm going to get x minus y equals 0, and then I'm going to get y plus w equals 0, and then I'm going to get z plus 2w equals 4, and then 2z plus w equals 5. Okay, now, at this point, look what happened here. Now I've got this x, this y, right? So this is the leading coefficient here, and then we've got this z, right? So now what I need to do is, these are okay, I don't need to do anything with these. So now I need to get rid of this z, because remember, I want the leading coefficient to be to the right. So here, I got to get rid of this z, okay? So if I get rid of the z, then I'll be done, because I'll have it in echelon form, because I'll have all the leading coefficients in the way they're supposed to be, okay? So now let's do this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do -2 times row 3 plus row 4. Okay, so we're going to do -2 times row 3 plus row 4. Now that means everything's going to stay the same except row 4. So I'm going to get x minus y equals 0, y plus w equals 0, z plus 2w equals 4. Now what's going to happen? Z's are going to go away. So if I do negative 2 times 2, that gives me negative 4. Negative 4w plus w is negative 3w, right? So that's going to give me minus 3w. And of course, if negative 2 times 4 is going to be negative 8. Negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. And now I can easily solve this. This is in echelon form. And so now I can easily solve this doing back substitution. So w is going to be 1. So if I plug in 1 here, I get 2 times 1 is 2. So if I subtract 2 from both sides, I get 2. So z is going to be 2. And now here I've got w, but I already know w is 1. So if I do 1 here, so y is going to end up being negative 1. And now if I plug in negative 1 here, that gives me positive 1, which means x is going to be negative 1. And so my solution is going to be what? It's going to be negative 1, comma, negative 1, comma, 2, comma, 1, right? So that's my solution. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so now, well, anyway, I'll just leave it at that. We'll talk about it next time.